In this video we share Mystic Maria Simma encounters the souls in purgatory. Maria Simma was a devout Catholic from Austria who, at the age of 25, had for the first time an extraordinary grace to meet a soul from purgatory. He appeared in a vision one night. He paced back and forth in her room. Confused, she shouted at him, "Who are you?" But she did not receive an answer from him. Then she jumped out of bed and asked him, "How did you get in here? Go away." She didn't get an answer, but he left. However, when she went back to bed he reappeared and she stayed to watch him without asking him anything, and she thought about what was just happening. The next day she went to her pastor, Father Alfonso Matt, and told him everything that had happened. Then he told her it could be a soul from purgatory. He taught her that if the soul showed up, not to ask him who you were, but what do you need from me. The next night the man reappeared and paced back and forth. Mary immediately asked, "What do you want from me?" The man stopped, turned to her, and said, "Please have 3 holy masses said for my intentions and I will be set free." She went to the pastor again and told him what had happened, and the pastor instructed her that it was really a poor soul from purgatory, and that if they showed up to help them. From 1940 to 1953, the souls of purgatory came to her, mostly in November. And hundreds of them, for help, for prayer. Souls talked to her and said that they have the greatest pain because people, their loved ones who remained on earth, forget about them, do not pray for them, do not have Holy Mass said, and do not understand that souls from purgatory live from our prayers and God's grace. It should be said, however, that Maria herself never asked souls to visit her, she never called on them or directed them in any way. They always came by themselves. In fact, the holy souls told her that God in His great mercy allows them to receive sacrifices and prayers from her in order to shorten their time in purgatory. Maria Simma often answered reporters' questions about souls from purgatory, and her words shocked millions of people around the world. She told one such shocking story to Nicky Eltz in an interview, answering his question. "Can you give me an example where a very small prayer that made a big difference for a holy soul?" "Yes, every smallest prayer is answered." "Let me think." "Oh yes, and here again it was about the poor soul who came to me a few years ago. One evening a man showed up, and after telling me what he needed to be delivered, he stayed standing in front of me and asked me, 'Do you know me?' I had to answer no. He then reminded me that many years ago, in 1932, when I was only 17, he traveled briefly with me in the same train compartment to Hall, Austria. Then I remembered. He complained bitterly about the church and the faith, and I felt I had to answer that by telling him that he was not a good person to tear down such sacred things. This answer surprised and annoyed him, and he then told me, 'You're still too young for me to let you lecture me.' And I just couldn't resist being a little rude, and I said, 'I'm smarter than you, though.' That was it. He buried his head in his newspaper and said no more words. When his station came by and he came out of the compartment, I simply prayed under my breath, 'Jesus, don't let this soul get lost.' And now that he was with me, he told me that that little prayer from my heart saved him so that he would not be lost for all eternity. Thank you for supporting my channel. May God bless you and keep you. Our Lady, Queen of Peace, pray for us.